Good morning, buyers. I just wanted to pop on here this morning with some quick tips. I had a big review last night for one of my newest listings. We had 14 offers come in after 4 days on the market. We chose to wait to give us some time to review offers and also for the sellers to deal with some conflicts during the weekend. With that review, though, we had some pretty impressive offers. And part of the reason I wanted to jump on today is because in Snohomish County right now, there are so few homes coming on the market. I think a lot of times buyers don't know what's out there and they don't know what other people are offering. So I just wanted to do a quick little video this morning so that you can know what's going on, what other sharks are in the water while you are trying to buy a house. And for those who have friends who are trying to buy a house, really, truly, guys, you don't have to use me. I just want to help you make the best offers possible. And so there's a couple things that I really feel are critical for you to be aware of and to be doing in your offers that will make the difference. One of the first things is there was 14 offers. And out of the 14 offers, I only received 10 buyer letters. And for 4 of those, I had to ask for them. They were high offers with no way to connect to the seller. And so I had to ask their agents to submit a letter. Totally fine. But come on, agents, you got to be submitting a letter. It's a big deal. And for buyers, when you're going to get pre-approved for a loan, know that you have 2 tasks. One, to get pre-approved, and second, to write a letter. Let the seller know who you are. Include pictures, include how you want to use the home. I say a good buyer letter not only tells who you are and shows pictures, but it also finds common ground. Right now, there's so much division in our country, and I feel like it's really critical when you go to make a massive investment for you to explain what your intentions are and to connect with the seller in a way that you guys can find common ground. I think that's really important. With those buyer letters, you guys, I can't even handle it. In the last 4 transactions that I've done, so 2 sellers, 2 buyers, the buyer letter made the difference. Last night we had straight comparison offer, almost exact same escalation up to the same exact price. It was the buyer letter that made the difference. Same for my buyers last week. They were trying to quickly get in on a for sale by owner, and it turned out that the buyer letter made all the difference. The sellers saw that letter and said, these are the people we want for our neighbors. Because a lot of times the sellers, yes, they want more money. We all want more money. But a lot of times the sellers are thinking about their neighbors. They're watching who's coming in and who's going to make the best impression on the neighbors because they love their neighborhood. They want to make a lasting impact on that place even after they're gone. So buyer letter, oh my goodness, I cannot stress this enough. If you know anyone who is trying to get in a home and they're not using a buyer letter, maybe that's why they're not getting in. So buyer letter, number 1. Number 2, I thought this was very fascinating last night. The earnest money. The earnest money is the amount you give with your offer. It is paid to the escrow company or to the agent after you go mutual. So it's not presented right when you give the offer, but your intention is stated. So that shows the seller how serious you are about the home. Last night, we saw an earnest money of $500 and of $20,000. You guys, do you see the difference? When I'm presenting 2 offers to a seller, one says, hey, these people have invested about $500 in their interest. These people have put $20,000. That's a really big difference. And so I can't stress enough. If you are able, show up, guys. Show how serious you are. I think it's really critical that you tell the seller with your offer and your money how serious you are. For that earnest money, I think it's very critical to know. I think a lot of buyers forget this. That money will go towards your closing costs. It's a credit of sorts through the transaction. As agents, make sure we protect you up and down the river with contingencies so you don't lose that money. But if for any reason you default on your responsibilities of your offer, you could lose that money. So it's important to take it seriously. But with that, we're going to make sure that you're protected at financing. You're protected at during the inspection. You're protected each of the steps so that you don't lose that money unnecessarily. You lose it more often than not when you're not paying attention, when you're not careful, which falls on the agent too. When the agent is not keeping up with his or her responsibilities, that's pretty critical. So for earnest money, generally your closing costs will be anywhere from 6 to 10,000. And so when you're putting down earnest money of 10,000, you've already paid ahead on your debts. You're good to go. You can breeze into closing and just be done, which is wonderful. So that $10,000 middle ground I'm really finding, especially for a purchase price of about 400,000, that's a little over 2% of the purchase price, and it shows some strong earnestness. I am stunned that on a home price at $399, we received an earnest money of $500. And quite honestly, that was the best they could do, and it's okay. But when you compare against 20,000, save up those pennies, come in strong on your earnest money. And it can be as you go about the process that you're able to do more on your earnest money. But if from the beginning you're able to come in strong, I think it's going to be really important. Next, the escalation clause. So for a lot of these homes, we really don't have a good grasp on what it could go for. Last night, the offer accepted was significantly over. I'll just leave it at that for now. It is going to be public record here in a few weeks, but for now, we'll give the seller some privacy. Significantly over. And with that, I was surprised to see where some people came in, which is completely fine. You really don't know. You shoot for the stars and you don't know what you're going to hit. So that's what the escalation clause can be very helpful for. You don't want to overbid the property, but at the same time, if you might miss out on something by $5,000, I would put an escalation clause in. So with that clause, you could say offer 410, escalating up to 425. You escalate by certain increments that you set. A lot of people set $1,000, and then some people set $6,000. When a seller is looking at two offers at 410, one escalates by 1,000, one escalates by 6,000. That 6,000 is going to stand out pretty darn strong. So I just want to encourage you, if you are going to put an escalator in your offer, you know what? Give that seller a pat on the back. Give them a little pep, and 5,000, 6,000, great. In the end, lenders say each $5,000 on the purchase price is about a $20 difference in the monthly payment. Don't quote me on that. I know I got some mortgage officers watching. I'm sorry, guys, if that is not current with what we're seeing right now, but it's about a number. So with that, a difference of $5,000 might just be $20 on your monthly payment. Going to make or break the deal. Amount is something I think is really important to watch for. The last thing that I thought was, wow, for a house built in 1990, a year older than me, let's be honest. Wow. We saw out of the 14 offers, 8 of them waived the inspection. That is shocking. That is shocking. And with that, way to go. If you are brave enough to place an offer with a waived inspection, that's a big deal. I don't advise my clients to do that because I feel it can be a little risky, especially with all the first-time home buyers I work with. That's pretty strong. You can't come back from that. You can't see something in the home later and be like, hey, you need to fix this because you waived the inspection. So I'd recommend, if you are not comfortable waiving the inspection, which some contractors, they're fine with it, and that's okay. But if you are not comfortable with it, the typical window is 10 days. A way to make your offer competitive is to shorten that window down as much as you can. For me, my inspector is available next day, so I can make my window one day. With that, I am still keeping a contingency, but it is insanely competitive because I'm not giving the seller all that time to wait for my response. I'm letting them know right away how intentional I am and what our plans are with the property. So that inspection window, you don't have to waive the inspection. It's okay, but shorten it down. I think that can be a really critical detail for a lot of buyers to know you can be competitive in this market. That was something I saw last night that kind of surprised me for how intense the market is right now. We saw a lot of offers that just weren't putting their best foot forward. And I think sometimes that has more to do with the agent than the buyer. And so I think it's important for all buyers to know who you work with is extremely important. It is important to know if your agent is calling the other agent. I received 4 offers where the agent didn't even call me. They didn't even let me know the offer was coming. I just suddenly had something wonderful in my inbox, which great, but I had no connection to that agent. I had no way of knowing, hey, this buyer has been beat out 6 times. They're trying so hard. That's important. So as a buyer, I would say keep interviewing your agent. Keep making sure, are they being as competitive as possible? And if you have friends who are trying to buy and you keep hearing horror stories, ask them some questions. Is their agent calling the other agent? Are they keeping up? Something that I strive for when I make an offer is I want 4 points of contact before I place the offer in their inbox. I want them to know my name very well. I want them to know my voice, my texting style. Yes, there are a lot of emojis. I want them to know me so that when they see your offer, they put it top of mind. The next thing I think is extremely important is being competitive and surrounding yourself with important people. Last night, we received multiple offers from lenders I had never heard of. They were, .com lenders that I don't know if that's credible. So working with credible lenders is also extremely important. There's a lender on there that I know has a bad reputation. I let my buyer or seller, know, hey, this isn't a great lender. That's bad. Work with people who are good. And if you start to hear something about your lender, your inspector, your agent, you guys, you can jump ship. If you've signed an agreement, please rescind that agreement before you move on. But you don't have to stay with the same person who keeps repeatedly doing bad practices. If you're working with an agent who's competitive, you still might be 6, 10 offers before yours is accepted. But I hope you know today, these key things can make the difference. That buyer letter can really make a difference. I can show up, I'm not going to show you guys, it's private, but there are pictures that are tear jerkers. There are letters that are tear jerkers, and it makes a difference. You can connect with a seller in a way like none other through a letter. It used to be we could sit in the seller's living room, we could present our offer and chat it over. We can't do that anymore, especially with the pandemic. So find ways to connect. 2020 does not have to be about disconnect and social distancing, especially when it comes to offers. You can connect with that seller by saying, hey, your living room would be perfect for my family birthday parties. Or one, they wanted to get married in the yard. How precious is that? If you were a seller and you heard that, that's a big deal. So that buyer letter, number 1. Number 2, your earnest money. Show how strong you are. Come in hot. Number 3, the escalation. If you're going to do an escalation, make it impressive. Don't do it. Number 4, your who you work with and your inspection window. I think that's very important. You do not have to waive the inspection, but come in tight, come in competitive, and I think it's going to make the difference. If you have any questions or you know someone who needs an agent to represent them strongly, give me a call. I would love to hear from you and help you. My number is 360-990-3756. Give me a call today or send a text and I'll get right to it. Have a great day, you guys.